Our agency, we scaled it to over $10 million of revenue. And I like science. I like research. We're in the age of technological revolution.
What is static and dynamic SEO?
Auto, one-click trusted, transparent optimization.
What we know about very simple. Why didn't I think about this? What's the biggest challenge in building a future-proof product?
They don't actually improve your SEO or your digital marketing.
You might have found a gap in the industry.
Just simply report data. Is he the best race car driver? He's a contractor. He's a plumber. He's a lawyer. I wouldn't call them completely transparent. The helpful content update, what the hell does helpful mean? Their guidance about their changes, their algorithm changes, not very clear what they're actually trying to say.
Correct.
And I'm going to interrogate it and I'm going to ask it, where did you get this answer from? And then I see the sales guys who don't understand the technicals at all. And they can sell, ice to an Eskimo. I didn't build this for the money. I love this industry.
This is the guy I want to bring on my podcast.
There's not a lot of problems more revenue can't solve.
I need to make money to feed the team.
We can survive a long time on batta and chawal.
That sets you apart from the competition like Ahrefs and Semrush. So quick heads up before we dive in. This conversation with Manick Bhan was so much packed with value that we had to split it in two parts. What you're about to watch now is the part 1 and the part 2 will be dropping soon. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Thank you. First of all, Manick, welcome to our show. And I'm really delighted to have you. One thing I want to admit here is that why I really wanted you to be on the podcast is a reason. You don't know about it, but you and me were actually standing together and you were discussing something with Kore. So Kore, you were discussing something which was really technical and I was just standing and waiting for someone to come. Actually, me and Kore had to meet someone and you just came by and you were discussing something with Kore. So, and I just heard your talk 1 hour ago where I saw that you are passionate about your product, and I was really happy to see that how are you convincing enough so that I'm sure you got a lot of signups. So I was convinced that he's a good founder, but when I actually saw you discussing with Kore, so you were discussing about the API, you were discussing about the API data and how the Google is using algorithm to ranks and stuff. At that point, I realized that this is a founder which I want to become. I really was impressed that you're not just doing this for money, or you're not just making products for just, for cash cows, but you're actually very passionate about things. So I saw that how informed you are, how passionate you are. And at that point, I decided that I want to become friends with him. So that's one.
It. Thank you for such a nice compliment. It means a lot to me. Thank you.
Yeah.
For seeing that passion.
Yeah, actually, I was really, really impressed. And I was like, this is the guy I want to bring on my podcast. This is the guy I want to be friends with. So let's begin with that. So now I wanted to know, Manick, like you've been a programmer, you've been an agency owner. Just right now, I'm an agency owner. You now building a SaaS product and it's quite good. I've seen already. So what's been unique about it? How do you describe yourself? How do you describe Manick Bhan?
That's a really tough one. I started off first as like a genomic scientist and then a junior astrophysicist and then an investment banker in derivatives quant. And then, my first startup that I built where I learned how to code. And then after that, I became an agency owner. And so my journey has just been one of humility and asking questions. I ask a lot of questions. I'm a very curious guy. And I like science. I like research. And so that's been kind of the overarching theme. What drew me into digital marketing as a passion is this idea that we can take our ideas, we can take a business that can have a good social good component to it, we can scale it, we can blow it up. And what an amazing thing that we can do is take these things and scale them. And having done that with my first startup, which is a company called Ruckus.com, which I exited in the live entertainment ticketing space. That's really where I cut my teeth, was learning about the digital marketing channels, understanding Google search, understanding paid Google, Google ads, as it was called back then, AdWords, Meta, and the entire digital marketing landscape. And that's really when I fell in love, was in figuring out how to scale that company, despite the fact that we were a tiny little fish in a big ocean with sharks and whales. Our entire venture capital funding round of $5.5 million was like lunch money for Ticketmaster and StubHub. And so it was a really challenging time, but I learned a lot and I loved it.
Wow, wow, wow. So it was all driven by an urge to learn, I think, how it started, and you just took steps and steps, and it eventually ended up in that kind of setup, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So you've built Linkgraph, and then you're now building SearchAtlas to redefine SEO, right? So you might have found a gap in the industry, and you might have said, "I need to build this," right? So can you tell me about the gap you found? Anything you want to discuss on that?
Definitely. So Linkgraph is my agency. It is a holistic SEO firm that helps e-commerce brands and B2B companies solve their SEO quagmires and basically scale. In the
Okay.
process of building the agency, we developed our holistic SEO framework called the Exact Framework, and
Okay.
that was essentially the creation that came from actually applying SEO principles across hundreds and hundreds of brands with large budgets. So, that
Okay.
our agency, we scaled it to over $10 million of revenue. So quite a meaningful amount of scale. And because we had that budget, we had the investment from clients, we actually had enough capital that we were able to explore what does it mean to build $1 million, a couple $1 million worth of backlinks a year, right? What does it mean to create content campaigns where where we have 30, 40, 50 writers on staff that are publishing a huge amount of content? What does it mean, to be able to access all the enterprise SEO software tools in the space, like Botify or in PPC Kenshu or BrightEdge? And so I literally used every tool under the sun, and we got a lot of at-bats at this, a
Correct.
lot of
Correct.
iterations at this, a lot of opportunity to figure out and learn. And you know what I figured out, Gundeep, is as we were doing this, I realized that the greatest shortcoming of the technology platforms in this space is that they don't actually improve your SEO or your digital marketing. They just simply report data. And it's
Correct. That's true.
right. And it's up to you to
Yeah.
learn how do you interpret the information and recognize the nuances and the limitations of that data. Like, for example, when is the DA real? When is it fake or DR? When is it inflated? Like learning these things.
Correct.
What does a PBN look like? Like these are things you learn on the job. And then from
Correct.
learning all that stuff, then you deliberately develop and execute a strategy. But unless you do that, nothing will
Yes.
change. So it's like trying to
Correct.
bowl without any bumpers or ride a bike on a tightrope. Like without the right guidance and action,
Yeah.
it's just way too easy to veer off course. And
Correct.
and so like, when we're at these conferences, there's a lot of interesting discussions, and I see, especially in the United States, in the US SEO conferences, see a lot of misinformation and
Yeah.
people doing things in ways that are obsolete and out of date and spammy.
Correct.
And
Correct.
so that was sort of the impetus to say, what if we built something new that took the holistic framework and allowed us to automate it using software and technology?
Got it. I think that's quite impressive, and I can recall your talk and in Chiang Mai. It was amazing, and it was I think too much about search at listen. It's amazing, amazing. Moving forward, SEO and digital marketing evolved at breakneck speed. It's like it's changing every day, I would say. As a founder and CTO, what's the biggest challenge in building a future-proof product?
We live in a time of truly, it's endless, the technological frontiers and the exploration that's taking place right now. There's ever expanding frontier is redefining the possibilities and the assumptions that we're making about how we do things. That's challenging because a lot of times the old ways of doing things, if we're so stuck in our old ways, we can't see the new ways. If we were trying to make, in the age of horses, go faster, we try to feed our horses better food and figure out how to make a stronger horse rather than leaving the horses behind to play in the fields and build a car, right? That's sort of the age in which we're in right now. And I think
Correct.
the challenge is internally and externally suspending our disbelief and daring to challenge the conventions and reinvent the internet. And so for me, digital marketing is the lens through which I'm looking at that. And the search channel is our chosen battleground where we're playing and we're working. And it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's a multi-year long epic of exploration and innovation and building and it doesn't always land the way that we want it to. But I think the hardest thing for me is maintaining the speed to deliver that we've become known for, is that we push products out continuously. We just launched Auto PPC on Tuesday, and to great feedback. And so we're constantly building and releasing, and that has its challenges, living and maintaining that for so long.
Correct. I must say you give very good examples. It's amazing. You
Thank
might be
you.
watching a lot of movies.
I do like movies for sure.
Yeah, I could see. I could see. Amazing, amazing.
I'm a
Okay.
futurist, so I love like
Yes.
sci-fi and
Yeah. I
Blade
can see
Runner
that in
is
your
one of my
words.
favorite.
That
Yeah,
is why I asked.
but you are too, though.
Amazing.
You're a
Yeah,
futurist
yeah.
as well.
Yes. Trying to be. Yeah. Now let's talk about business and innovation. Okay.
Yeah,
So
sure.
scaling an agency is a challenge in itself. I can see. Even I am facing that kind of struggle right now, where an agency is very difficult to scale, and you're also building a SaaS alongside it. So, what is your biggest pain point you're facing right now, or might have faced in recently?
There's a couple different things that come to mind. I would say on like the more human side, on the personal side, is scaling a team past 100 people comes with a whole new set of challenges of
Correct.
managing and operating and creating what I call strategic coherence, where everyone is rowing in the same direction. So for me personally, and we saw this with the agency, that the agency could only really scale to a certain level, and then we kind of like peaked out. We couldn't,
Right.
get any bigger than that. And I think that the reason that that happens for not just us, but so many people, because I'm in communities with thousands of agencies where I teach how we built our agency, and I educate and I coach. And the biggest thing that I see that's holding those agencies back is that their churn is basically so high that the new clients that are coming in just kind of keep them in the same level. And so in order to
Correct.
break out of that, you have to break out of your limiting beliefs and your knowledge base. You have to grow to become, Gundeep 2.0 or Manick 2.0. You got to become the next
Correct.
higher
Correct.
level of yourself. So that
Correct.
was a big challenge for me, building both Linkgraph and SearchAtlas. And and I'd say the other thing, especially in the early days of Search Atlas as we were building it, is Search Atlas, we didn't just start like a year ago. Many people have started hearing about us in the last year, but we started 7 years ago. And so we were
Oh,
spending over $1 million a year in R&D technology investment. And we sustained that year after year after year. And so
yeah.
Search Atlas, if you looked at our books, at our finances, it looked like this hole that was just bleeding profitability out of the agency. But we knew that the future for us had to be to create something of unique value beyond just beyond just doing SEO the way that people have talked about it, but to take our research and our knowledge and build technology out of it. And also we needed to
Yeah.
keep investing in research. Like we spend about 35,000 a month now on just our R&D team that's just running experiments, single variate tests, building websites, building web pages, getting them ranking, and then changing a couple things and seeing how does Google react to that. That's how we learn.
Yeah.
Actually, is through the R&D. But
Yes. Yes.
but you have to sustain that for an extended period of time. Which obviously,
Correct.
if you're trying to build a lifestyle business and profit as much as possible, these two things don't go together. For me,
Yeah.
I didn't build this for the money. I didn't build this for the cash flow. I build this because I love this industry. And this is what I'd be doing if I had $1 billion in my bank account, because I honestly, this lights me up. And this is also how I serve, right? Some
Yeah.
people are great at basketball. Some people are, great leaders of countries and whatnot. For me, I'm a technologist and a futurist, as you pointed out. And I feel like this is my way that I give back to society.
Wow. You know what? I am facing the same problem right now. You just touched my pain point. Like I'm trying to scale the team, And the issue is that we have more clients, we have more team, but that's a vicious circle. It's going on. I'm not able to break, up the ceiling and come forward with 2.0 model. We're trying to do that right now. We're really finding ways to, enhance that kind of thing. But right now, that's exactly the pain point we are facing. So I could relate a lot with that. Coming forward, one thing I would like to say is that you've seen Ford versus Ferrari, right? It's a very lame example right now. But what I'm trying to point out here is that when I talk to you, I am able to understand that, like, a person who loves about cars or engines can build a good car, right? Can build a future Ford, right? If he knows what is an engine, what's the horsepower, what's the innovation is all about, right? One thing I would like to say is that I was for many years working for cash flow and money. I'll be very honest with you. So what is now changing in the last 1.5, 2 years is that our passion is coming forward, and it's passion was always there for SEO and technology and stuff. But one thing was very important, that I need to make money to feed the team. I was in that kind of dilemma for a very long time. Now I've seen that now, if we have passion, we have innovation. If we, like the way you're saying that you're doing a lot of testing, that kind of things I've started doing, and the game is changing. I'm feeling happy about it. You might be relating that you feel satisfied the night you've done something and you have the results. Like, okay, this worked, did this not work? I did this, now I can see this is happening, right? So that is a very good satisfaction, and I think that's the prime satisfaction one can get in their corporate or work culture lifestyle, right? Am I right?
Totally. Yeah, you're talking, what you're describing there is the intrinsic motivation behind why we do what we
Correct.
do, not the extrinsic
Exactly.
motivation of the capital and the money or the accolades. It's
Yeah.
this, I'm
Correct.
I'm satisfied with what I built and
Yeah.
what I did or what I realized or what I learned. And that's the love of the game. You have it. Me too.
Yeah. We're trying to differentiate the team that, okay, we are testing this, we are building this, we are making this. Now you make sure that how to sell it. This is your job. I will not doing the both things. So after this, we divided the people into two categories, that you are the innovators, you are the sales guys. So now it's working really well. So because when you're building, you don't want to think that how will it sell. You want to make it for the best, right? And to make it the best, you'll focus on the technicalities, right?
This is one of the things I see most often in digital marketing circles, that a lot of the people in the lab, the technologists, get wrong.
Okay.
A lot of times I see people so into the science and the research side that they just don't have a good business. They're making
Correct.
not enough money to really even afford to feed themselves or their family, because they're spending all their time tinkering and experimenting and trying to get the pop in the rankings. And then I see the sales guys who don't understand the technicals at all. In fact, they could barely spell SEO. If thankfully it's only 3
Correct.
characters, right? But they're really good at selling, and they can sell, ice to an Eskimo. Those guys
Correct.
actually build huge, way more successful agencies. And what I always
Correct.
say in the agency world is there's not a lot of problems more revenue can't solve. Am I right?
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
You build
Correct.
a bigger
Yes.
agency,
Bang
you
on.
can you
Yeah.
can get like stronger team members, and you can get the right CMS, or you can pay for that, next level up, and hire those
Correct.
better people and build a better agency. The biggest thing that I learned, and this has taken me years to fully believe in and commit to and understand. When we were scaling up our agency, I was very reluctant to hire certain people because they were expensive. And I said, well, when we reach this level of revenue, then we'll hire the COO to manage all of the agency operations. When we reach this level, then I will hire this person, which was completely wrong. Well,
Okay.
what we should have practiced sooner is this concept of who, not how. The who, not how idea is
Okay.
that I will find the who, I will find the person to figure this out. And I will be a great coach, and I will step into
Okay.
this frame of being a leader and a coach to my team, and I will find the people to figure out how to solve this, rather than me spending all my time in the how of figuring out how exactly do I build these SOPs, how exactly do I organize my ClickUp boards for all my tasks to make sure my clients' deliverables get met, or the technical aspects of the SEO campaigns or the Google Ads campaigns. You can lose yourself in the void of space by only focusing on those how challenges. Instead, what I would suggest to any agency operator out there that's tuning into this is first thing you do, level up your own mental game, right? Leave the technical stuff to the side, level up your own mental models around life and your business, like grow mentally. And number two, create, like take all the chess pieces off the board, clear the board, right? Blank chessboard now. And now re-put the pieces on the board with vision, with creativity, and invest into that vision and the people that you need in order to execute your goals. Does that make sense?
Got it. Yes, I think I should making notes. I should be making notes right now. You're just speaking so much sense. Right now, me and my co-founder are discussing the same thing every day. So we are exactly at that point where we are thinking that do we need to hire this? Do you need to bring this? Exactly. You just touched that point which we are in the dilemma right now, and so we solved it in a way that yes. He manages the paid advertisement and all that stuff. So we, in whatever you just said that we are on our own solving that things. We are trying to do everything on our own. So that's how we started in 2016, 2017, I suppose. And today we are at a point that now we are getting good CEOs, CTOs, CMOs, but yes, again, that thing is happening. That are we going to hire or not? But yes, I get the framework. I think we are in the right direction. And my Retacha, you listening to this? You need to listen to this.
Yeah. All the SEOs watching this are like, get into the technical nerdy stuff. And we're like, no. We're going to talk about the art of building a great business, right? Because it's, I think, the most essential skill to have. And so sometimes it's challenging because when you think about hiring all those cabinet C-level people and bringing them into the team, obviously that comes at an expense. But the truth is, and this is for anyone listening that's from India, we can survive a long time on batta and chawal. We don't need to have all the trappings of well, we can kind of pare things back and slow it down and just make those hires. And guess what? When we did that and we brought those key players into our team, the growth exponential, the team way happier, way more focused, and me, I actually have a way better, I would say, way better like quality of life. I'm not chasing fires anymore, and I get to focus on my production quadrant, which is the stuff that lights me up, that I'm excited about, and pushes the business forward.
Amazing. I think the last thing you just said, I think that's something we need to still do, that after setting this up, we can focus on the things which is enlightening us and making us actually drive the business. But yes, I get the roadmap. I think the last bit of the roadmap is still to be done, and we will be going to do this. And I think this is for everybody. This is a very important part. Even I interviewed Mads Singers, and he always talks about this, right? I think it's completely making sense. So that was my few of the questions you already answered. I was going to ask you about the team. I get it. I was going to ask you about hiring. I get it. So I think a lot of questions are solved. That's really good. Let's move forward now. Awesome. This is my favorite topic, talking about SOPs, processes, team building, because, right now we are at the same point. So it really actually, these podcasts are helping me actually figure out my stuff as well.
One last quip on that is that what's also interesting is we all come from different walks of life. And I can relate to my lived experience, and I will never tell you, Gundeep, like this is the correct way for you to do it. But what I will share is like from my vantage point, from my lived experience, these are the things that served me, that I've learned. And everyone, including Mads. Mads has his own incredible perspective coming from a management background where he was working at huge organizations. He's been inside the belly of the beast, and he's got his own lived experiences and a lot of wealth of wisdom to share from that. So I think ask the same question to 10 people who are all successful in their own right. You'll get 10 different answers, and some will have a similar chord, and they'll also have their own diversions. Lots of insight.
But everybody says one thing which is very important, that hire good people. Hire the best. Don't think that you're the best. If you're the best, you'll run.
I was going to say hire bad people.
No, what I mean to say is that for a very long time, I was, and my founder was, we were both were thinking that, see, I'm a very good SEO, you're a very good ads guy, so we are driving the business, and that's wrong. We need to hire better people than us. We need to hire better SEOs than us. We need to hire better writers than us. We need to hire better management people for us. So that's how, was changing. You just talked about that you can, minimize your expenses, like we can survive on patta and chawal. And, right now, not right now, but in the last 6 months, actually, me and my co-founder, we decreased our income. We actually thought of actually taking a pullback and a wait and put that money back into hiring good people, which we were taking as a bonus or extra money. So to stop that and put that money into better hirings, and then that's how it began. That for 1 year we can survive on less money, but that's how we build, and it's working out. Actually, it's working out.
Amazing.
Alright, time for a sponsor break. This episode is proudly sponsored by Kings Digital, the marketing agency that I, your host, Gundeep co-founded. At Kings Digital, we specialize into scaling businesses, optimizing growth strategies, and turning your ideas into brands that people can't stop talking about. You might be thinking self-promotion in your own podcast? Well, that's quite bold. That's because that's exactly what we do for our client. Bold strategies that bring results. So if you're a business owner or an agency wants to level up your marketing, your processes, whether it's SEO, ads, social media, performance marketing, we're building a killer brand presence for you. If you want us to audit your website or your ads campaign, just fill up the form below and we'll get back to you. Trust me, if we're good enough to sponsor ourselves, we're probably good enough to help you crush your goals. Alright, that's enough of us now. Now let's get back to the show.
Gundeep, I think this is the year. This is the year where, we're in the age of technological revolution, right? As humans, we haven't lived through, at least me, nothing like this ever before. The first, tech boom, the second pop, this wave completely, radically reshaping the landscape. There are investments that if we don't make those investments this year, forget it.
Correct. Now let's talk about the evolution of SEO, okay? So SEO has evolved dramatically over the years, correct? What are some of the biggest challenges and any biggest challenge a business would face, and how a business would solve those challenges as a business owner?
Well, business owners need SEOs to help them, them figure it out, right? And SEOs, by and large, are a cynical, sanctimonious bunch of people, and I love them for that, and I hate them for that too. I think one of the biggest problems is that is the way that our industry approaches the fact that it's changing so much. And SEOs need to approach our work as a quest for scientific and mathematical discovery. This is like a big theme I keep talking about, rather than letting it become a matter of politics or tribalism. And so there are people in different parts of the world that are members of different SEO communities, and they all think that their SEO is the right SEO. My backlink building is better than your backlink building. My AI prompt is better than your AI prompt. My technical SEO is better than your technical SEO. My tropical map is better than your tropical map. Everyone's got their own thing. And I'm teasing there. My topical map's obviously better than, everyone has these perspectives. And also, we've all lived through many ages of Google. And if you've been in the game long enough, you have had some trauma where Google has just totally, smacked the crap out of your website, and you've seen an SEO empire crumble. We've all not to say I hope that anyone's gone through the experience, but if you've been in search long enough, you've seen your empire rise and fall, and it just happens.
Correct.
And so that's a challenge. And I think that what we need to do in the community is to always remember that our perspective is from the vantage point of our lived experience. My strategy that I did on this website, right? We know Google is not a single signal search engine. The algorithm is a compilation. It's a composite of multiple components. It's an equation with multiple parts. And there are really unique components to that equation where if certain things are true or not true, other things can work or not work. And so I've seen strategies work beautifully in one example, but those same strategies fail because of very specific reasons. And so that's where having a lot of at-bats, where you are having the chance to run and execute that strategy 100 times right, is necessary. Who's the best golfer? Is it the golfer that can get a hole in one time out of 100? Or is it the guy who doesn't get the hole in one, but he's consistent and every time he plays, he's making, he's getting the ball on the fairway closer and closer to the hole, right? It's
Right.
obviously the latter, right? That's the one you want to be. And so
Yes.
the game has changed, right? It's changed completely. And the first thing that I think is required to be successful in this coming age is the humility to understand that your knowledge has limits and there's more to it than you can possibly know in totality, right? Even
Got
even
it.
my friends, like even like people that I admire in the community, like Korai or Irfan or Mads, who are also doing their own research, or even James and Khazra and Craig
Right.
Campbell and all these people that are doing their research and sharing, they all have experienced only a certain percent, maybe let's say 30% of all of the possible components of this system that are out there. And I like to
True.
think that I have more components than most because we have access to the world's largest link building exchange. We have the largest panel of of websites that are undergoing dynamic SEO on them with micro optimization. So and we have the world's third largest press release newswire in the world. So we have unique
Amazing.
access points that no one else does, and
Yeah.
even still, I would say there's much to learn.
Amazing.
So I think the
Amazing.
most essential skill to survive in the world ahead is humility. It may sound silly, but I think it's
Very,
humility.
very good answer. Very good answer. So I just want to touch base on one thing. You just spoke about dynamic SEO. You often talk about static SEO versus dynamic SEO, and you've been talking about this recently. I heard about few of your conversations which were online. So can you tell me more about what is static and dynamic SEO, and what do you do in dynamic SEO, and what does it mean for the audience?
Yes. So the big difference in these two approaches, static SEO is essentially the way that the industry traditionally approaches SEO, which is we design our SEO strategy and we make changes to our website single point, like where we add a page, we run an audit, we correct fixes, and then we
Okay.
essentially go through these iteration cycles that are very long, where we execute an SEO campaign and it's a 3 month roadmap from start to finish. But we don't
Got
go
it.
back and touch what we did a month ago or 2 months ago or 3 months ago. We pretty much go through the entire process. We then
Yeah.
observe our rankings and then we start all over again. And it's these like, kind of,
It's a flat process, I
it's
could
a
say.
flat process and there's
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
continuous iteration that's taking place on every page of the website. It's not a continuous process.
Got
Dynamic
it.
SEO is. So every day there's new data that we know about our website and how Google is perceiving it. And not just in Google and in the context of organic search, even with our paid media campaigns. These are dynamic, totally dynamic, living and breathing campaigns that every day things are shifting, things are moving, there are updates. However, humans, where there's too much information for us to parse all of it and make those moves every single day. However, computers and automation, they don't suffer from that same challenge of having to do this long-term reasoning. We can make micro optimizations and micro responses and adjustments to the SEO strategy on a page by page level every
Wow.
single day in response to that data. And it
Wow.
requires AI, it requires algorithms, it requires a technological bridge between the AI and algorithms and our website, which is essentially what
Wow.
we did with our JavaScript driven dynamic SEO solution, which is called Auto, one click
Wow.
trusted transparent optimization. Auto.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. 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 And I think it's not possible by any human to actually look at such data points and actually make or drive a strategy that, okay, we're going to do this because we see these data points. So the blessing of technology, the blessing of AI, and you've put that everything in place made an amazing tool which is solving that problem, right? Am I right?
Yeah, the AI definitely allows us to solve that problem. There are a lot of people who wonder, like, what is the role of humans now in this new chapter? And obviously, as a human myself, I'm very vested in the answer to this question. There's a lot of hubris, I think, where, when I was at Chiang Mai, I asked the question, how many people in the room believe that SEO can be fully automated? And I think I saw your hand go up. There were a lot of people in the front row that I noticed like believed in this vision. They were there, but the majority of the room did not. And that was very
Correct.
interesting because most people still don't believe that it can be. But the thing is,
Correct.
these AI models are now better than human. They're actually better than human. If you
Yeah.
gave me, Gundeep, an hour to write the most perfect image alt text that I possibly could, I would still not be able to compete with the AI model that we built to solve that. And the AI model can
Wow.
do 1,000 of them in okay, not a second, but in like, 10, 15, 20 seconds in
Yeah,
parallel. It
I
can
get it.
solve
Yeah.
all of them, right?
Correct. Correct.
And
Correct.
so we need to figure out, where are the humans needed now and where are the humans not needed.
Yeah.
And for me, the
Correct.
answer to this important question is we need to move ourselves out of the mundane, of the drudgery.
Yeah.
If you have VAs on your team, the work that you have these poor VAs doing, that is the work that will be automated, that should be automated by reasoning, by AI models with exact instructions and all of the right data points. What the humans are doing is
Correct.
essentially looking at information, putting it into their
Yeah.
brain, thinking about it
Yeah.
based on the SOPs and the rules and the science of SEO or Google Ads. They're making changes. Guess what?
Correct.
That's exactly what the AI model is doing.
With a good speed, with a lot of data points, and with a lot of millions and millions of data can be trained, and obviously the answer, a very simple thing. I'm building a tool which I think you can relate to this, that if I give a real estate agent of 10 options to remember for a visitor who's visiting and he wants to buy a property. Someone can say, I want to buy a property near swimming pool, I want to buy a property with concierge service. A real estate agent can remember 10, 20, maybe 50 properties, but an AI model can remember 5,000 properties and can do all the permutation and combinations with the choice and give the best answer, correct?
Correct.
So I think we need to use the technology in that way. So rather than avoiding it, rather than surpassing it, which we cannot, we need to embrace it. I think, right? And that's what you've been doing and building amazing tools on it.
Thank you, Gundeep. And yes, I think the case studies at this point really speak for themselves. We have over 1,000 case studies. We did an
Yeah.
implementation of the technology for an agency that had 152 orthodontists as clients, with over 350 Google My Business profiles. This was a real
Okay.
test. We installed the technology on those sites and those GMBs, and guess what we got back? 152 case studies for the websites where you can see by the seventh or eighth day, it's the same pop in rankings and traffic, and the GMB moves from red to green. So it is a validation of. I mean, I'm not saying this so much to, hey, go and use the software, but I'm just saying that this is a proof of what is coming in digital marketing, where we can't fight it. We have to embrace the automation and the research, and where we need to play is either decide, do you want to be a tool maker and a researcher and create these AI agentic systems and be responsible for bringing new enlightenment and inspiration and creativity into those agents? Or do you want to be a practitioner where we take these AI agents and we specialize in the art of understanding, what does this business need? What does the business strategy need to be? And
Correct.
serve more as the
Correct.
consultant to the business and
Correct.
allow
Correct.
them to access the best of these AI agents across SEO, Google Ads, YouTube, Meta, and the state of the art of what that is, as it's always going to change, even as we see day after day after day, new model drops, and then another new model drops, and another new model drops. It's maddening, isn't it? So
Get it. Get it. So, and I want to ask you, Search Atlas, it is for the business owner directly? Can it be used, or is it better for a person like me who's an agency owner who has a lot of local SEO and local or maybe SEO clients? So what do you think? Is it better suited for me or direct business owner, or both?
I don't think the business owners, frankly, most of them have the aptitude to fully understand and commit to the rigor of learning that is required to fully take advantage of a system like this. Our platform has always been built for agencies specifically, first and foremost. So it's a platform for agencies. However, we do have brands that use the platform, although I'll say those brands would benefit from working with an agency that has really become an expert at implementing the technology, because uh, there are levels to it, right? I could give you a Porsche 911, and I could be in a Porsche 911 as well, and someone else can have a Porsche 911. That doesn't mean we're all going to come in exactly the same place in the race, right? There's a better race car driver, and you have to ask yourself,
Correct.
you know, is the business owner,
Yeah.
is that DIY SEO business owner, is he the best race car driver? Probably not. He's a contractor. He's a plumber. He's a lawyer. He has a different trade, and this will not be his trade.
Very good answer. Amazing. So I can see that this is a shift from old SEO to the new SEO, and the way you're approaching it is quite fantastic. It's going in a very good direction. I can see. Moving on. So I can see that Search Atlas is equipped to all the evolving challenges which the right now in the static SEO and dynamic SEO are happening. The future of SEO is happening. Would you agree that this your Search Atlas and Auto are quite different from the traditional approach and traditional tools? Would you agree to that?
Yes, I would say so, because our platform is focused on action. It's focused on actually making changes to the site to move the needle up and to the right. The other platforms, the trad SEO platforms, are typically point and shoot research tools
Yeah,
with
the data,
reporting
as
and
you
the
said,
data.
these are showing the data. Yeah,
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 they're just giving us the
yeah.
data. But we
Okay.
philosophically have been on this arc for a long time now. And so, when some of our competitors decided to go left, we decided to go right. And that's led us in a very different direction. And I wouldn't say that, I'm not saying anything I shouldn't. I want to make one thing clear, which is that I admire our competitors. I think that they have great platforms and tools. And I think that it's amazing that you
Correct.
can pay, let's say, around
Correct. Correct.
$100 and access technology that is scraping and crawling and processing the internet. I mean, what an incredible thing to build and offer for
Wow.
such a low price. So
Yeah.
I have a lot of reverence and appreciation for all of these companies that have come before us.
Wow.
But I believe that we serve a different purpose and a different model for the future, and that's what we're committed to. I also have
Amazing.
this other frame, Gundeep, that I want to share, which is the way I see traditional SEO is it lives in this era of the internet and building sites where there's really kind of these four pieces. Design lived over here. We have designers designing web pages, and they're making design happen, and they're making it nice and look good. And that's like one of the first things that's happening. And then the second thing is our content strategists or writers, they're going in and they're figuring out what are we writing about, and then they're using like the entities, and they're getting knowledge of semantic SEO and factuality. They're making
Correct.
better content and stuff, and then they're putting it into the design, right? And this
Exactly.
is a process. And then there's the third stage where now we have like the web developers actually create the page and code it in like the CMS and the landing page. And then the fourth stage is like the technical SEO guy comes in and says, here's all the things you forgot to do and the mistakes you made. And I ran the audit, and I told you in the beginning that this is what should have been the H1, and you didn't use my H1 tag. And what happened
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the internal linking? You guys messed this up, And here we live in these four boxes,
Yeah. Yeah.
these four people on our team in the SEO team, and they all live very separate lives, right? And they're
Yeah.
all different expertises. That I believe is dissolved. Like we are now in a new chapter where it's all completely dissolved, and design and content and SEO and coding and publishing all happen in parallel at the same time. That
Wow.
is what I'm speaking to. That is the age that I see us moving into. And that's our
Wow.
vision, is that we are a part of that process, and we are building
Wow.
products that align
Wow.
with that future.
Wow. Wow. I think that sets you apart from the competition like Ahrefs and Semrush, which is very evident and very clear. I don't need to ask this question again. This was my next question, by the way, but you've answered it already amazingly well. And there's no shortage of SEO tools, but this is the difference. One, the already existing tools are based on data, or based on maybe flat time static SEO, that okay, these are the data points, you need to fix this, and that's done. But on the other hand, combine all the four pieces, make a dynamic approach, use a lot of data points again, but it's in the iterations, the data points, the testing, or whatever you've done, whatever your system is trained to do, all the permutation combinations, and then it's been
Yes.
used to actually work on the SEO of a website, which I think a person like me, or maybe a singular person could not do. But with the help of your platform, we've got a very good weapon. A weapon might be the wrong word, but like
Yep.
the Captain America had that shield. So it's like that kind of thing, that we have a superior tech with us, which can give us as an edge as an agency over the others, thinking as an agency,
Very
right?
much so. Yes.
Yeah.
And so
Amazing.
much of this has to do with speed, because
Yeah.
you could do this manually with a person, slowly, 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 or we could do all of it at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's not
Yeah.
that there's no human, right? I don't want people to get this wrong idea that the human is completely irrelevant in the process. The human is there because these AI models have an evolutionary journey where they get better over
Correct.
time. And over
Correct.
time, we don't need to. It's like, I don't know if you have kids, Gundeep, but I have a
Yeah.
3-year-old
Yes.
daughter, and as you
Yes. I've met
teach,
her.
like,
She's very cute.
yeah, Ruby, yeah, she's awesome, and she's real sparky. And when we're
Yeah.
teaching her how to ride a bike, in the beginning, there's a lot of doing like this, like making sure she's in the middle, right, keeping her aligned. But then as she learns, she's able to do it more and more herself, and then eventually
Correct.
there are no hands, right? It's like the self-driving car, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. What we are saying, like, my thesis is, the models evolve. Our ability to make the models do the right work evolves and is expected to only get better in the future. And so rather than saying we can't we can't give you the perfect title tag 100% of the time, but we can get it right 99.9%, I'm very happy with that, because I know in the future, that last shade is gonna come. We're gonna get it. And so
Correct.
today we need to move on beyond that micro issue. And today we're going to set our sights much bigger. My
Wow.
vision is, like, think about what is the value. Like, let's go back 10 years. Okay. What would it cost to build a website? Like, how much was, like, the market rate to build a simple website?
Maybe $500. Maybe a very very basic one. Basic one. Yeah. I think
Basic one,
maybe.
sure.
Yeah.
From templates, right?
Yeah. 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 Exactly. If you want to talk about a good website, maybe $3,000, $2,000.
It
Yeah.
depends what
Correct.
you need,
Correct.
and,
Correct.
and, and like how much work you want to put into it, and how specific it
Correct.
has to be, and how many pages, right? And so
Correct.
today, when people show up with websites that have been built, let's say in WordPress as the CMS, let's say in WP Bakery, God forbid, like some older page builder, or even Elementor, let's say, right? The value of what they come to the table with from an HTML perspective is almost zero, because I know now I can rebuild their entire website using technology, using AI, make it faster, make it lighter weight, make it
Yeah.
sharper from a content perspective and from an SEO perspective. And so now I think we're going to see this new world in SEO, where SEOs are not just going to play in this. I'll take your website from whatever it is, and I'll work inside it, to, look, your website is so bad that leave it over here. I'm going to build you an entirely new set of pages, architected in new technology, powered by this new technological frontier that we're in. and it's brand new and it's right here. I mean, it's not something that's been around long, right? These technologies are very, very new and they're very
Yes.
powerful. And so we embrace them. We get a huge velocity acceleration. But not everyone today, I think I'm like one of few people that I think is talking about this. Most people I don't think are really at the technological bleeding edge like this. So my mission today is also to educate people about that.
I love your passion, man. I need to learn a lot of things from you. I'm telling this off the podcast, actually. I need to learn a lot from you. Not SEO, but the way you have that passion. Moving on. SEO is an ever changing game, right? How do you ensure that Search Atlas is ahead of Google algorithm updates?
How do we ensure that our methodologies are future proof? How do we ensure that what we're doing is not cutting a corner or doing it the wrong way? So this is important because sometimes you have to take a chance and try something not knowing if it's going to work. I
Correct.
think that Google in general, while I wouldn't call them completely transparent because the helpful content update, what the hell does helpful mean, right? Their guidance about their changes, their algorithm changes is, I would say, very obtuse, not very clear what they're actually trying to say,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
But I believe that it is possible to understand what their North Star is from a combination of sources. One, the
Okay.
things they tell us, the algorithm changes. You can see what they're working on with the algorithm. But even deeper than that is looking at the research, looking at what's coming out of MIT, Caltech, Stanford, the ML research that's being done.
Oh,
What is the new frontier of content analysis and LLMs and anomaly detection in data sets and multi-signal analysis? What is the frontier of that looking like? And as we approach
okay.
quantum, what is that doing to the algorithms that we're able to use now? How much is it leveling up our ability to do highly computationally intensive math on every web page on the internet? So think about something like this. Like let's just say Google, you could encapsulate Google's entire search algorithm in a ChatGPT prompt. And let's say we had to run that on every page on the internet, right? And the prompt was something like analyze the quality of this web page and look at this and look at that and all these rules and stuff and grade the page. What would that cost? It would cost like millions of dollars, tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to use a good enough model on that. So Google obviously can't do that, or they don't want to do that, because to use the LLMs in such a capacity would not be business viable. Do you remember when Google, about a month ago, made it so in order to see search results, you have to actually have a browser with JavaScript enabled? Remember that
Correct.
change?
Correct.
The,
Correct. Correct. Correct.
the big reason for that is they didn't want to have to power AI overviews with their large language model because it's expensive. So they didn't want to have to run
Ah,
AI
okay.
overviews for a bunch of bots,
Okay.
right? That were
Ah,
not real
ah,
users. And so what they did is they raised the computational bar that you have to do in order to get their data. So they don't get bled dry using these very more powerful LLM models. So I use this as a metaphor because in the coming age, and even with these LLMs becoming cheaper and cheaper, it means that the access to algorithmic reasoning to evaluate quality of websites and web
yeah.
pages and user journeys online, it's just going to get better and better and better. So that math is going to change, but the things that they're looking for, which is signals of quality and good experiences and value, that's the North Star. So if you're thinking about, is my strategy today aligning with that North Star or is it not aligning? Just ask yourself that question. Is
Wow.
is what you're doing moving toward that right direction, or are you doing something that's not moving in that way? Because it could
Wow.
work for the next 6 months or a year or 2 years even,
Wow.
but there's
Wow.
likely a shelf
Wow.
life. In
Wow.
particular, on a lot of the spammy backlinking strategies that I
Wow.
see, there's likely a shelf
Wow.
life to that.
Thank you for sticking till the end of the conversation with us. We hope you found as much value as we did while creating it. If you enjoyed the podcast and want us to bring more such influential guests, then please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Honestly, each like and subscribe help us keep going. It keeps us motivated to make such content which is filled with insights and strategies for you. If you enjoyed the podcast and want us to bring more such influential guests, then don't forget to like and subscribe. Honestly, each like or a subscribe help us keep going and make such content which is filled with insights and valuable knowledge for you. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Anything you would like to tell us about the podcast? Whom do you want to see in the next podcast? And what kind of questions do you want to ask? And hey, just don't keep the conversation with yourself. Share this podcast with at least one person, can be a friend, colleague, or a family member, or anyone you think can benefit from learning something valuable or getting a fresh perspective. After all, one conversation, one perspective can truly change someone's life. And thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode of the Business Playbook by Gundeep.